Hi, Jason Spengler, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. This one came to me, let's check, from North Carolina, from Hope Mills, which means that this person was connected to Fort Bragg in the military. So this will be an interesting collection. There's no telling where these scouting items actually came from, because someone who was in the military, especially the Army, could potentially have lived anywhere in the country or maybe even overseas. So let's cut into this box and see if we can tell a little bit of the history of this Scout's collection. All right, open up this box. I'm going to see if I can just lift it out, and we will see the collection just as it came to me. All right. So it looks like some of these tubs didn't quite survive, so I might just pop them off. The stuff slides out. So you can see here in the video that I'm doing a big sorting project. This is something that I do with collections where once I get the collection, I have to take the items and try to put them with like items. And so here's a good example. Right here on the top, this is probably what was the fall of that plastic tub, was these heavy books. So behind me, I have a place for these books. You can kind of tell, get a little idea of the timeline. This is a Scout handbook that came out in the 1990s, and so this kind of tells us when that guy was doing his scouting. And here's an OA handbook similarly from that time period. Look here a little bit more. Hey, look, what do you know? I'm right on. Scout requirements 1996 to 1997. This would have been before that. This would have been more of my time in scouting, and so he could have been in a sort of crossover period where he started his scouting in the 80s and then maybe was still doing it into the 90s. And then scouts from that time period would have had their trusty BSA field book, lots of great information in this field book, and even though it has his troop number on it, I still think somebody might be able to get some value out of that. So see what else we've got here in this priority mail. Let's see what this is. Okay, there's some, these are basically people who collect stamps who might be interested in these. These are called first day covers. It's a really decorated envelope that has a stamp on that date, and these are from the National Jamboree. Here's some from Smokey the Bear, and this one has a really vintage Scout stamp on it. So at the National Jamborees, there's usually a group called SOSI, Scouts on Stamps. I don't know the official, what all the letters stand for in the acronym, but those guys are into stamps, and that's kind of their jam at the Jamboree, and that guy might have gotten some stuff from them. Let's see what else this is. Got his name on it. His first name was Chris. Okay, this is a picture of his troop, and they were, whoa, gotta be careful here, at Flaming Arrow Scout Reservation. And I love getting pictures like this because everybody's wearing that 1980s ball cap, and they of course all have their green socks with the red toppers. So it just definitely dates that picture. So again, that might be something where I might not keep that, but somebody who is from Flaming Arrow Scout Reservation might be interested. Then this looks to be from a conclave. So you got this conclave here from Florida. Put that to the side. A lot of little stuff in envelopes. These are some cards. Okay, yeah, so like he got his Paul Bunyan axemanship, and then there's his card. And this is his second free Jamboree patch. So we'll find out what Jamboree he attended. He attended the 93 Jamboree, which I think I remember having a conversation with this guy. His name's Chris. I was at that Jamboree as well. I was a third assistant Scoutmaster for a troop from the PD Area Council. And so we would have gotten some of the same patches here, this southern region, which the southern region was brand new, just been formed in 1992. And that's when those patches were coming out. So, all right, as far as these other guys here, what would someone have who was going to the Jamboree? So I'm seeing some OA flaps he traded for, Seminole Lodge here, several from Seminole Lodge, and Similachi. Then here's some cards that belong to him, Suwannee River, so a lot of Florida stuff. So that's why I'm thinking, again, when you talk to a guy, get a collection from someone who's in the Air Force, you never quite know. Here's a Transatlantic Council. A lot of people in the military would have a connection to Transatlantic Council. And then also a couple of wood badge patches. Here's an SE 493. This would have been a wood badge course before the southern region was born. So that would have been probably in the 1980s would be my guess. And so you got some other ones here. Again, 93 Jamboree, a couple of bolo ties. Slide that over. Let's see if this box survived. It did. The lid is just a smidgen crushed, but I think that can be popped back into place with maybe a little effort. So we got some more things here from Chris's collection. Again, another one of those wood badge patches here on top. Got some more handbooks. These are more vintage. Now, does this point to him having a brother or a dad or somebody else who was involved in the program from a different generation? That's often what I see. Obviously, this Gen Chiefs collection or handbook as well. This is a 1970s handbook. So again, different generation, but it could be that these were things he got from perhaps a flea market or something, or it could be things that belong to a family member. Again, more things stored in envelopes. Here's some random patches. There's, again, more stuff from Similachi. So, here's that connection to Florida. 3 Similachi Order of the Arrow flaps. A Sunnyland, Florida strip here. There's an OA jacket patch from that time period with what we call the MGM logo Indian on it. Here's some more patches. See what these guys are. Okay, these were sewn. That's interesting. Somebody mailed this to him in 1993. Came from Tallahassee, Florida, and went to Moultrie, Georgia. There's like history you just don't know. There's no way to really know, what was happening there, what was going on. Again, there's a lot of stuff from Similachi, which is kind of interesting to see. And then in the very bottom of the box, there's this guy, which it's got ABC letters on it. So it's some kind of a box for toys of some kind. Let me remove this paper just to give us a little bit better look. So I'm not surprised to see something like this. A lot of guys improvise when they're finding containers for their scout stuff. So let's kind of see what's in here. Again, more patches. That's awesome. So another letter. This one was from 1990, sent to him from someone else in Florida. Now this is kind of cool. Not many people see this. Some of you who've been collectors know that in 1990, the Order of the Arrow made a special arrow ribbon that you could earn, and it is kind of familiar. It's red and white, and it's got a little gold-looking turtle at the bottom. Well, this is the card that you filled out, and it looks like Chris filled this out and potentially could have earned that. So you had to do something. There's a quest for chapter and lodge development, a quest for scouting and community development, and a quest for personal development. And I'm not sure if he earned it, but he was definitely working on that by the card. It's almost like a blue card, if you will, for earning that badge. Camp Shands, Flaming Arrow Scout Reservation. Again, that's this Florida connection. Some older patches here. And then, this patch right here with this yellow ribbon, many of you from that time period will remember when Desert Storm was happening and then later Desert Shield, that this was kind of the symbol for supporting the troops who were fighting over in those wars. More Similachi here, some more OA flaps, maybe ones he traded for at the Jamboree, because these are from different councils and different lodges. And then here's a really nice Boy Scout knife. This is probably the one that he used. Let me see. Yeah, it's got a little bit of wear and tear on it, but this is kind of the classic knife from that time period. It's exactly the same one that I had. This is a 4-blade knife that has the leather awl and the can opener and the screwdriver. So still a very, very handy knife to have. A couple of other slides here. His little stack of skill awards, because if you were doing this in the 1980s, you would have been earning skill awards. And again, this thing, we have more letters that he kept mailed to him from Tallahassee, Florida, from like the council office. And I guess for whatever reason, just kept them in here. So this is a Scout Reservation patch, and then this is the World Conservation Award for a Boy Scout uniform. So anyways, there's a few other things, but this is the kind of collection I love to get. Someone's time capsule. They went to the National Scout Jamboree. They were very involved in their camp, their Order of the Arrow Lodge, their council. They got lots of patches. They were probably a little bit like me, Chris was. Bit of a patch trader back in the day. But for him, it sounds like his future was to go into the military, which would have taken him away from his connection to scouting. And I believe when I talked to him, he was living there, again, at Fort Bragg or Fort Liberty, whatever name we're calling it this week. And so he decided to reach out to me, and we talked about his collection. I made him an offer, and he mailed it to me. And now I'm going to sort these items out. So when I turn the video off, I'll take the Order of the Arrow items, put them with the Order of the Arrow, the bolo ties. I have a box over here for bolo ties, and I'll get all this sorted out so that I can try to get these things put back out into the universe. All right, thanks very much for watching. Again, if you have a collection like Chris, a scout who did the program back in the 90s, or maybe it was an uncle or father, grandfather, whoever, if it's a collection that no one is appreciating, just sitting in a box, maybe it's in an attic, maybe it's in a basement, who knows, out in the shed, reach out to me. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find all my contact information. You can text me, you can email me, just pick up the phone and call me. I'd love to talk to you and hear your scouting story, and potentially, like Chris, help you recycle your items back into scouting. Thanks very much for watching.